curious as to, from your perspective, because I've thought about this, I've talked about it a lot. I'm very interested given your perspective. What do you think is keeping the massive opportunities, and it's going to be education, but I wanted you to go deeper than that, which is every company in the US that does say more than $3 million in revenue should have pretty much somebody full-time on automation. Like, all they do is just talk to people, build workflows, grow that base, as you said, make it fatter and fatter. But right now, my estimation would be the market is penetrated 1% of 1%, or what do you think is going to be? Do you think agents are going to be the step function unlock? Do you think as business owners get younger, like, what do you think right now? Why isn't this freaking ripping? Like, what do you think from your perspective?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know that it's revenue, because sometimes it is, it might be EBITDA, or it might be the ability to think about investment in growth, right? Yeah. So, an e-com company at 3 million is pointless.
Or restaurant.
Or a restaurant. Yeah. So I think it is a combination of, I think it's mostly that this is still confusing, and this is still new, and they don't understand that there is a huge gulf between those who look at it and they read an article in a newspaper or like Yahoo News, and they say, oh, that's an interesting parlor trick. And they don't understand the depth to which it can be applied. And like, part of my role, I think, in this world is to be an advocate for the future of business.
Yeah.
So I think it is a knowledge gap. And the problem is, and so I see insanely sophisticated stuff happening. So people assembling entire Supreme Court documents with citations and analysis for submissions of amicus briefs on the one hand, that are as if a team of 50 lawyers worked on it for a year. And that's all being done with machine learning and AI on the one hand. So there's that. And then there's the folks who are, putting in place management for, nuclear power plant power management. And they go deep and deep and deep into this. And then there's like the SMB market, which would, honestly, if they just did a fucking email campaign, their life would change, right? So they're not even at that point. The sweet spot is the lower middle market.
That's where I live, lower middle market. Yep.
That is. So really, you might call it 5 million, you might call it 10 million to 50-ish million zone.
Million in earnings. Million, 1.5 million in EBITDAs and up.
Exactly, right. So they have enough, there's enough money in the system that they can make investments. Yeah. And they're small enough and nimble enough that it's not going to take, it's not like turning a battleship, and there's less internal politics.
Totally agree.
That's where the war will be fought. That's where the war will be won.
Completely agree.
Yeah. And so the question is then, how can we, A, articulate the opportunity, and B, when is the timeline of the tool base getting accessible enough that they can actually use it?
One of the challenges that I've seen that I'd be interested in you talking about, and there's probably some smart Harvard Business School paper about this or something, but given where the market is right now, it feels to me like it's not mature enough to have a niche, but a niche is going to be what's required to grow the market. And so specifically, we do automation. Every business in the world can be automated. And that's kind of like such a fuzzy, whereas there is a $100 million company that automates top of funnel for solar companies. Mm-hmm. And now they're unlocking a real revenue earnings generating use case, but they're niched down enough that those guys feel okay, kind of like do you agree with that? Do you think the better idea is to keep zoomed out? Do you think there's niche automation that needs to kind of like flood in to really push the use cases? How do you think about it?
It's a layer like in every market, right? And so you have the application layer, and then you've got kind of the infrastructure layer, and then you might have the hardware layer underneath
Yep.
it. So at the so we're talking about the application layer.
Yes.
And on the application layer, you can that goes down into the, okay, well, now is Zapier or Make, are those things in the application layer, or are those the tool set underneath the application layer? Then you've got the application layer, which is a specific business function. And
Yep.
then the way that I view on top of that is frankly the marketing layer. And
Yeah.
so for instance, I'm building a tool which could be used by anything in the world, any company in the world. It is completely generic. Now, if I try to sell it that way, that would be idiotic.
Correct.
So instead, I say, okay, we're going to focus on marketing, AI automation, and marketing for lower middle market businesses to start, and then we're going to figure out, oh, okay, there's
Yep.
going to be some subset,
Find the niche. Yep.
and we're gonna hone in on it. And at least my strategy is that's going to be a land and expand, because once you get it, then guess what? This same engine can be used for operations. It can be used for all kinds of things. But I think that's just inherent in getting the attention of the marketplace more so than it's a technical limitation.
I think you're spot on. And to give an analogy as to what I spend most of my time on, I consider it the same. I call it wrapping paper, which you said marketing layer, which is, I'm like, look, it's the same great person from Argentina for $1,200 a month. Now, are they a solar warranty salesperson? Are they a hubs? I don't know. Let's see who buys.
Yeah, exactly. You hold up a mirror to the customer, and that's what they are.
And I think you're correct. It's a very good analogy, which is it can be a lot of different things, just with a 3% bumper around it, right?
Yes,
and just like,
exactly.
Just kidding, it's a speed to lead platform. Yeah. Just kidding, it's a
right. And that's what a startup's job is, right? You zigzag towards something that finds traction, and you don't know what it's going to be. But to try to start with a platform without like deep VC pockets and all that is a losing proposition.